Hey everybody, it is Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I hope you have enjoyed the latest Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. I think it was a pretty good one, and you guys are going to go over and vote on the new poll for next week. Anyway, tonight I wanted to talk to you about frustrations with firearms and something very interesting I discovered about a gun that I recently reviewed that I don't like, and honestly I think it's a deal breaker, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. And then I want to talk about why I think ARs are superior to AKs, even though AKs are pretty darn cool. Well, let's talk about this gun that I recently reviewed. I've showed it off on this channel. Here it is. This is the Girsan MC 14T. There it is. So this is a 380. Kind of a copy of a Beretta 80X, 84FS, 85FS, and some people said an 86, which also had a tip-up barrel, which I was unaware of. But it has the tip-up barrel feature, so you can load it without having to rack the slide. And of course, you have the magazine, which can be inserted full, and then loaded up there. Really easy way without having to rack the slide, which a direct blowback pistol like this can be kind of hard to do. Well, I finished the review of it. Talked about some issues I had. Like every time I review a gun, I always make sure that I take care of it and clean it before returning it to its owner. And the owner of this pistol is Jack. You guys have heard me talk about him, great friend of the channel. And so I was like, okay, it's time to field strip this and clean it up and get it oiled so I can get it back to him. And I looked at it, I was like, okay, it doesn't have the button on this side like the 84 that I own has. It has a lever over here. Maybe it comes out. Let's see here. Well, the slide's not going to come off the front, so maybe like my tip-up barrel Berettas, I'll pull the slide back and we'll come up and off. No, it doesn't do any of that. And so just kind of handling here on the table, I was like, I don't know how to field strip this thing. So I went to the owner's manual and I learned how to field strip it. And this is the problem. So even though I filmed a field strip video on my main channel about this, which will come out in a couple of weeks when the review of this gun comes out, I'm going to quickly show you this field strip and see if you guys can see the problem. Okay, drop the magazine like always. Of course, make sure there's no ammunition in there. Let's go ahead and tip up the barrel. Make sure there's no ammunition in the barrel and in the chamber. We will then pull the slide back and lock it open with the slide stop. All right, so what do you think the next step is? If you said absolutely nothing, you'd be correct, because that is the field strip. Now, I don't know about you, that's not a field strip. A field strip is getting this slide off the gun, because you might need to get down into the smaller components. You probably want to clean the rails and the slide. I don't know. This is not a field strip. And you're probably asking, well, there's got to be a way to get that slide off. How do you do it? Well, you got to have a very, very small roll punch pin. And of course, when it comes to roll pins, you really should only use them one time. You punch out a roll pin here. There's a pin that will take, or they go through the frame, and then you can pull off the barrel and the slide will go forward. Yeah, that is not a field strip because it requires special tools and you can't get the gun apart. In my opinion, this is a deal breaker. And I hope I don't hurt Jack's opinion of me on this, and he doesn't get mad at me. It's a great gun. I did have some issues. I think they were more magazine issues than anything else. This is not a field strip. This is not acceptable. It's not acceptable because you can't really get down into the gun. You can't get into the small components if you have to change stuff. In my opinion, that is not a field strip. So, had an issue with that. So what do you guys think? Have you ever seen a firearm like this? I think if a gun requires a special tool or procedure that is not easily done, it's not a true field strip, and it's a flaw in the design. Ultimately, this is not a go-to-war gun. I totally get that. But every gun should be serviceable in the field. And without being able to take the slide off, if you have certain malfunctions or part breakages, you can't fix this in the field without special disassembly. And that is not a field strip. My personal opinion, but do you guys know of any other guns that are kind of like that? Because I can't think of any off the top of my head. Then I want to talk about a reason why AKs are not as good as ARs. And I know I've already pissed off people just saying that. My biggest issue with AKs, and I have 3 or 4 AKs, is that they're not universal. When it comes to an AR-15, parts are universal. The bolt carriers will fit. I mean, I'm talking mil-spec. 95% of all AR-15s parts are interchangeable. Trigger groups, uppers and lowers, pistol grips, stocks, buffer tubes, and even if you have a design of a handguard that requires like a special barrel nut, well, you can always take off the handguard and the barrel nut, put on a new barrel nut that uses the same handguard that you want to put on it. It's not like once you get one AR-15, you are locked into it forever because the thread pitches are different or the receiver sizes are different. And yes, there are special ones, but I'm talking about the 95% of majority of AR-15s. AKs are not that way. As you guys know, there's different receiver sizes. Like if you go to the Serbian ones, they use like a 1.5 millimeter RPK. They're bigger, longer. Then you have milled versus stamped. And then when it comes to the furniture, a lot of it has to be specialty fit. It's not universal and can be frustrating. Now, I was cleaning out and reorganizing one of my safes today because I think I had too much weight on one of the shelves and I kind of saw a little bit of a bend. So I reorganized things and I built an extra support column for the middle of this thing. And it works great. It looks good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. But I was kind of digging through my safe and I found something I totally forgot that I had. I remember buying this particular handguard from Krebs Custom or Kalashnikov USA, or Kalashnikov USA, however you want to pronounce it. And I bought this, I think, originally for my, was it the KP9, the 9mm pistol caliber carbine version of the AK. I ended up going in a different direction with that, but I had the handguard anyway. It's brand new, never installed on a rifle. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I have a rifle that this would work really, really good on. So I have this old SAM 7 Arsenal, but it's a milled AK. Now, this has what appears to be like the same furniture that goes on every other type of AK. So I took the whole gun apart, and I was going to put it on. And it turns out the receiver, where the handguard goes into it, is too small for this one. Even with all the adjustments, this is just too wide. And that drives me nuts. And now listen, I understand why, and I know that not everything that goes on a stamped receiver, which is what this one is probably designed for, is going to fit on a milled receiver. I get it. And then you got all the different furnitures that you can buy for different guns. I find that to be absolutely ridiculous. It's not right that you can have an AKM from some company, whether it be, you know, Arsenal, or it could be from PSA, or you get a mill, like a mill surplus one or something, or like, what were those? You have the Egyptian ones, you got Russian ones, you got Chinese ones, and you buy something that's supposed to be for a AKM, a stamped receiver, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit without specialty fitting. Now, some people are going to say, go back to that whole thing, two things. Two things. Number one, knee rifle is fine. Okay, I get it. The way the gun comes is the way you want to keep it. And that's fine. But people are also going to say that you don't assemble an AK, you build an AK. And so everything on these guns have to be almost like hand fit. And to be honest with you, that is a big detriment, I think, to the design, because part interchangeability was a huge evolutionary step forward in the 19th century. That you could have a firearm or a machine, a part goes bad, you could get the part from the company or have a part made, and it would fit right in the machine. And AKs are not that way. And I'm not really sure why people that are big proponents of AKs don't admit that as a fault. You can still love them and say they're superior, but you have to admit the lack of part interchangeability is a real issue. I mean, even if you change the bolt carrier and the bolt, you have to make sure it's headspace. On ARs, they're more consistent. You don't have to worry about it as much. But when it comes to AKs, you got to make sure that your bolt headspace is right, or it could be a danger and essentially blow up the gun. And that's just because there's so much variance in these guns. They're just not consistent. And some people will say, well, having those big tolerances is what makes the guns run so well. Well, let's just be honest. AR-15s run great, okay? Really good. And the tolerances are machined in a way where they are consistent. So, I guess tonight is a gripey night. Issues with guns. So what do you guys think about this takedown of this Girsan MC 14T? You know of any other pistol that's like that you really can't take it down, or maybe even like a rifle or shotgun, you can't take it down beyond a certain point, and it's not really a field strip without special tools? And what are your opinions on the inconsistencies of AKs and not being able to use certain parts, and move, hand guards or whatever between them? I don't know. That drives me nuts. So I guess I'm just going to put this back in the bag it was in. I'll probably leave it out here in the garage. I got a parts bin over here, and maybe one day I'll have another AK, or have a friend that has an AK that I can use this on and give it to them. So anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. And I love coming to you with these videos at night because I just get to talk about guns with people that like to talk about guns, and who knows what the topic is going to be from night to night. So I do hope you enjoy these from the garage videos, I guess. So anyway, hope you're enjoying the new content. So, as always, thanks for watching.